morning, you guys. Listen to the Trumpettes. Love them. Adorable. I know I can't play too much of it because they'll probably be mad if I use their clip. You know, oh, that's the chord. Let me fix the chord a little bit here. There we go. Welcome to the show, you guys. Welcome to the show. Thank you, my girl. Great today. Every day. Every day. Building. Building. Good morning, Marguerite. There we go. There we go. You always got to leave the song at the right moment. Do you guys do this when you're in your car? You're sitting there and then the song is still going and you know you can't listen to the whole song, but you wait to turn off the car until it's like the end of the chorus. You know, like right before the next verse, you're like, all right, there. Click. I do it. I know what I'll do. Don't think you don't. Don't think you don't. Welcome to Trump Talk US, you guys. Trump Talk US, live from just 20 minutes from the Capitol building. We're here in Washington, D.C., right here in the adjacent swamp area. Yeah, here to talk about a bunch of things that I wrote down. Oh, good. I wrote down a list, as I like to do. I like to write down a little list, but I was fixing the cord that knocked it down. So, Joes, I love my president too, and we are in such a great time right now, you guys. That I want to talk a little bit about a couple of things. You know, kind of give everybody updates on the past news. Also, just talk a little bit. I want to do later at the end. You know, in the middle of the broadcast later on. I want everybody to kind of share their favorite Trump accomplishment. I want to, you know, I'm building a list. You know, I feel like for New Year's we should all build ourselves our like favorite top 10. Let's maybe do this on Facebook. Our top 10 things we love Trump did in 2017 list and just share them. And just keep sharing our top 10 list. Like do a top 10 thing. Do you remember when we used to do top 10s all the time? Was that still on Facebook? Was that MySpace? Somebody remind me. So click the share button if you can. We had a great show yesterday. We had Reem come in and we had a ton of views, which is so awesome that a lot of people got the chance to see that awesome conversation. I want to thank Reem for popping in on the show. It was so particularly timely considering the topics that we are talking about and we're talking about yesterday. So, but we got to do some things. We're going to talk about some things today. Recap on some news that's coming. That's one of my favorites too, Gary. That's one of my favorites too. Recap you on some of the news, but what I wanted to do first is talk about Treegate, because we were going to talk about it yesterday and we didn't talk about it yesterday. We totally got wrapped up. And so I want to talk a little bit about Treegate. So as we might have heard now, because all of the lefty media has picked it up, Melania Trump has approved the removal of a dead tree, the Jefferson magnolia. Okay. It's a tree planted back in the day by Jefferson and honor Jefferson, like 1800s, 1700s. It's a very old tree. But it's dead. It's been dying and they've had it wired up for many, many years. Many, many years. That's hilarious, Marguerite. So it's dead. It's dead. And so they came and presented this information to Melania, and Melania came and said, okay, so it should be cut down because it's now dangerous. The branches are going to fall on people and hurt them when they come to visit the White House. We don't want that. So the left, of course, is now freaking out, as we said on the show earlier this week, about Melania cutting down this tree. She's horrible. She hates trees. They hate a history, which this is what I find so absurd. I want to mention this comparison. As we all know, a couple weeks ago, where everybody was passing around the story that the left was upset because there were trees between a golf course, a white golf course, just, you know, and a black neighborhood. And the trees were racist. So putting up the trees so that you couldn't see the golf course was racist. Right. They said the trees were racist. But this is a tree planted in honor of a known slave owner, okay, who had a plantation, many slaves. Now that Melania wants to take it down, they are very upset that she wants to take it down. So I love how my president and the first family do such a wonderful job of trolling back. You know, this is such a beautiful troll because literally everything, don't you love this? Patrick, you love this. Marguerite, you love this. Gary, you love this. You love when the president just takes a very sincere action that clearly demonstrates the hypocrisy and absurdity of the left. And he does it so well. And this tree situation, it's brilliant. I know there's a lot of news that we see, and they are attacking our president. And I want all of us to take a deep breath because in 2018, it's going to keep happening. 2018, and maybe we should have a different philosophy about this. Let's go. Good morning, Mary. Take a deep breath. Breathe it out. Sometimes the fake news is useful. I'm just going to pause in silence for a second. Yes. Let's say that again. Sometimes the fake news is useful. So when we see these articles that smear the president, attack the president, we don't have to always be mad. We can see the usefulness of it and get in on the joke. And that's what I want to encourage everybody to do is for a New Year's resolution, a Trumpers this is a list I need to make. A Trumpers New Year's resolution. 10 resolutions Trumpers should have this year. One of them should be get in on the joke. Earlier on. Don't be so mad. Get in on the joke. This Treegate thing. I love my president. I love Melania. Maybe even more. I mean, who doesn't love Melania? Maybe even more. Awesome. 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 All she did was say, yes, we should take down this dangerous tree. And the left goes mad. And they're busy screaming about trees while Trump is passing judges. While Trump is all of these things that he's tweeting about China. They're worried about trees. So it's brilliant. It's an epic troll. I just want to give credit to my president yet again for some serious media 3D chess. Absolutely, absolutely fantastic. So if you're watching the show and you get a chance to join in and you haven't seen the show, share it. If you haven't seen the show, you know already to share it. You already know the share it. So let's update you on a little bit of news everywhere. Hello, JL and Penny. Roy Moore is still fighting. Roy Moore is still fighting in Alabama, and I actually am really happy about that. I understand that the president has to have that move on, you know, kind of attitude where we got to move on. He does need to move on. He can't be bothered with worrying about what's happening. Although what's happening is Roy Moore is continuing to... Yeah, Wanda, you're right. They have seedlings. They're going to replant the new trees. They've been planning for this. Everything is going to be fine. But the left doesn't care about the new trees. You know, Melania could plant a forest and they would still be worried about this one dang tree. Which, by the way, if I were a leftist, love you too, Hareem. Great show yesterday. Everybody loved it. And I've gotten so much feedback about just how much everybody appreciated a chance to see such positivity. You know, us positive patriots need to, you know, be out there more together because there's a group of patriots that are mad and grumpy. And there's a group of patriots that are weird and kind of doing their own thing. And it's awkward and there's conflict and drama. And I just don't bother with them. But they do their thing. I don't care. Do your own thing. That's one of the things I am different about, I think, maybe in the patriot movement than some people. I don't care about whatever everybody else is doing to be a patriot. I don't think they're shining bad on me. What other people are doing isn't reflecting bad on me. We'd be insane to think that in any era of time, politics, a two-party system doesn't have a bunch of crazies on this side and a bunch of crazies on that side. That's fine. I'm not mad at the crazies. I'm not mad at the crazies on the left. I'm mad at the crazies on the left when they try to affect my life, either physically or personally or through laws that they want to impose upon me, or taking my tax dollars and spending it on crap I don't feel is appropriate, you know. But I'm not mad that they're crazy. This is a free country. You have the right to be as crazy as you want as long as you don't hurt nobody but yourself. And not even too much of yourself. You know what I'm saying? So I don't care. So I don't care what everybody's doing on the Patriot movement. As long as if you're doing Patriot shit, do it. I might not be involved because I'm not down with the style you're doing it in or the message you're trying to add to it. I might not be down with that, but so I might not join in, but I encourage you to continue to patriot on. Patriot on everybody. Look, somebody's got to go talk to the other crazies and get them to come vote for Trump in 2020 and get them out here and to vote for these MAGA candidates. I'm happy to have crazy people vote, sane people vote, semi-crazy people vote. It's a free country. I'm not here to judge whether you're crazy or not, okay? If you crazies know who you are. You crazies all know who you are. But that's all right, because I love all people. Whatever situation you're in your life, if you've got problems, if you're disabled, if you're abled, if you're super abled, if you think you're super abled, but you're really just crazy, whatever it is, you're a human being. I have no animosity towards you unless you mess with me. And then I'm kind of like, no, screw you. But otherwise, we're good. We're good. Good for you. I encourage you to keep doing it. And I love people who do stuff that support my president. So if you're going to support the president, even if you're a crazy person, great. It doesn't bother me. I'm not one of these, it's making us look bad. I'm just not one of those people, you guys. So let's update a few. Like I was saying, Roy Moore is still fighting. I'm really happy that he is doing that, even though I know the president has to move on. I understand why the president has to do what he's doing. I am also really proud of Roy Moore for actually continuing to try to out the fraud. That's what he's just done recently. He's filed a lawsuit just before the Secretary of State can, I'll talk about that in a second, Barbara. The Secretary of State can certify the election. He's filed a lawsuit to block that, specifically to out the fraud. Wanda, that is so awesome. Wanda says, I saw a video yesterday, I made a new friend, and now I'm standing up with my... Awesome, because I know Wanda was talking about how it's sometimes really nerve-wracking to be out there and support Trump and feel like you're the only person. But, that's why we need to connect with each other. That's why I just don't feel like we should be judging everybody about how they're doing what they're doing, Let everybody patriot how they want, and then make friends with other people that share their values. I don't share every value. Mark was in the Tea Party with me, and he'll contest. I didn't share every value with all of my friends in the Tea Party, but you know what values I did share? The 3 values that made up the core of the Tea Party, which is why I was in the Tea Party. You see, I'm libertarian. There's some things that some of my more conservative friends are not so down with. I'm, opposed to the drug war. They're more law enforcement, crush drugs. I feel like what we need to do is maybe close the borders and stop the illegal drug trade. And certainly one of the ways might be to assess how our drug laws are affecting and impacting the criminal justice system, overcrowding in our prisons, which Mark knows all about in Chicago. There's a lot of problems with the way we are implementing the drug war and with the way we've implemented the drug war in the past that should be revisited, even if you're a complete libertarian and believe no drugs should be illegal, or if you're a complete conservative and believe in vicious law enforcement. What we have been doing should be reviewed by both and everybody in between, because we're not doing some things right. Securing the border is a huge part of that. So, I wanted to mention this. Barbara said, I would rather the voter be informed voter, not someone who's out of the loop on the issues. You know what, Barbara? I appreciate that. But unless we're going to start giving everybody an information test, and then who's going to make up the test of what information and what not information we have to know before we can vote, I've given up on the hope that we're going to have smart people voting. At this point, I'm happy to get your vote. And see, I don't judge if you're smart or not smart, or involved or not involved. In fact, I've always been a news wonk. So if I judged people based on how much they were involved in paying attention to the news my whole life, I'd be mad. I'd be a very grumpy, bitter, middle-aged woman. And I just don't want to be like that. I just don't want to live like that. So I'm really excited. Roy Moore is continuing to fight the fight, because we do need to keep outing this fraud when it happens. We know fraud happens. We know they're implementing a variety of methods of fraud. We knew that going into the presidential election, and I talked about it a lot on Trump Talk on Periscope, the various ways in which they can steal an election. A little bit from the voting machines, a little bit from fudging registration, from fraudulent registration, from duplicate registration, from all sorts of just, they don't manipulate, they don't steal, they don't just go in and change all the voting machines. They change a little bit in the voting machines. They change a little bit through on registering voters or having non-registered, people who aren't authorized to vote come in and vote and register. They do a little bit. You do a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit here. That's how they steal the election. So we have to continue to out the methods that they're doing, all of the methods. So I'm really happy. I'm really happy to see that Roy Moore is doing that. And I wanted to update you guys. He has filed a lawsuit, specifically blocking the certification so that, dead voters, Mark, dead voters, seriously. That's why I always tell the joke. I always tell this joke. I say, when Trump said that, he could shoot somebody in Times Square and people would still vote for him. And I said, he could shoot me in Times Square and I would be in the hospital. I would make sure I get an absentee ballot so I can vote for him in my hospital bed, unless of course I died, in which case I would vote Democrat. So just a little joke for you guys while it's on topic. So also I want to give you a little update about the Joy Vila situation. Oh, thank you, Mary. Definitely Moar next year. I'm 20 minutes. I could almost walk to Moar. I'm not going to. Don't let anybody get any ideas. I'm gonna start walking to Moar, but I could if I physically needed to. It's great. Yeah. Well, I think it's our job, Barbara, to keep informing people. Barbara says we don't have to be smart. You just have to be informed and awake to what's happening with issues. Yes, I think that's true, and I think that it's people are informed on different levels, and frankly, people care on different levels. So sometimes it's. Are they informed on enough issues to make a decision that makes sense for them? Some people only concern themselves with domestic issues. How does it affect taxes? How does it affect Social Security? That's, I meet a lot of people who are cranky, and they're like, well, Trump hasn't really done anything that affects me. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like all these things, none of that affects you? And they're like, well, he hasn't done this or done that. And I was expecting, people have their own idea of what's their focus. So, as long as we can get them enough information so they can make a decision that has some information to it, I'm happy. Or eeny, meeny, miny, mo, as long as it's my guy, I'm happy with that too. So let's talk a little bit about the Joy Vila situation. Just from what I've gleaned in the last 24, 48 hours, she has filed the complaint. There are no charges at this point filed. That she will be talking to police later in the week here in DC about the incident. I find it interesting that it's here something happening just right around the corner. This whole little incident is happening. So, and people are obviously fighting it out on social media. She continues to lose a lot of support in the Trump movement, and frankly isn't gaining any support in the Democratic side either. So, well, it remains to be seen what this whole action is really going to be about. But more of the news sites have picked it up and are doing articles about it. They're doing it, mentioning it in TV loops now. So we shall see. I personally feel that the reason she's losing a lot of support from Trump movement people is the way you don't go out to Politico and dish on your fellow Trumpers. You handle that in a different way. So it was a celebration. It was a 1-year celebration party, Mary. It was a 1-year celebration of Trump's victory, although not actually. It was on the 28th instead of the 8th or 9th when it was, which we all remember was kind of odd. We all were like, oh, that's a weird date to have that party. So at least everybody I knew here who was aware of the party. So, the thing is, it continues to unfold, but there are no, I want everybody to understand there are no charges. Everybody has also been mentioning this concept that the police upgraded it to sexual assault from sexual harassment. That is such leftist spin, and I want to explain to you why that is leftist spin. There are different qualities of crime, okay? When you go and shoot somebody, that's a different crime. Merry Christmas, Mike. When you go and snatch their purse. You see, those are two different crimes. Two different crimes. So, sexual harassment is when you harass someone in the office, you use your position of power to continue to try to make unwanted passes at them. It may involve physical touching. It may involve, but that is, it may involve sexual assault. But sexual harassment is a process that goes on over time. Whereas sexual assault is something that if I assault you in a manner that is sexual, okay? So that can mean anything, assault at this point is if I grab your phone, that's an assault charge, to be fair. So they haven't upgraded anything. They've just properly categorized the behavior, alleged behavior. I'm going to say alleged behavior because we don't know if it actually happened. One. And if it did happen, what I agree with Penny is I don't understand why you would handle it in this way. I understand she said, don't do that again, and then you did it again. Well, okay. Am I the only person that's actually happened to, and then you have to actually do something about that afterwards? Like, they go, I go, don't do that. And they do it again. And you're like, no, I'm serious. I'm going to smack you in the face if you do that. Don't do that. There's a process that goes on after that. And I know in my personal process, at no point does it say, talk to Politico or have my friend talk to Politico, and then I'll confirm it and then get a bunch of press and then start tweeting about it and file a police report. I don't know where any part of that comes in. None of that comes into mind. The idea that I would file a police report because a man smacked me on the butt when I told him not to, that I would file a police, I'm going to go down to the police department. People need to be dealing with crime. There's people out there getting shot for wearing shoes. Okay. We just had on the news of M13 gang house where it's like a destroyer house where they come to beat people up or whatever they do their gang business in. We got all this going on. Okay. People robbing packages off of porches, people holding people up here, wherever. Chicago's shooting people every day. We got all this going on. Okay. You want to go down to the police department and spend time with an officer filing a report because a man smacked you on the butt. I don't know what world that is. As a woman, I gotta say, I've been a woman my whole life, never have changed. I would never do that. I would also not go to Politico and make a big stink about it. I might go talk to like Kellyanne Conway or go talk to Katrina Prison and be like, do you know what Corley Nelson just fucking did to me? I just talked about that. You better tell that to get his together and stop smacking people on the booty. Or they're going to be trouble. Of course, now to be honest, maybe I have hashtag married privilege because I have a beautiful large husband who really kind of discourages, he doesn't intentionally discourage, just the appearance of a big sturdy husband and discourages other men from smacking you on the butt. So, one piece of advice I as a married woman can have, maybe get yourself a good husband when you won't have this problem. Yvette, I have. I got to be honest. I literally have been in this situation. People are like, well, you don't know if you've ever been in this situation. I'm like, I have been in this situation many times, mind you, but actually in a particular, and I don't do second warning. This is the other thing. I'm a 3 warning girl. Okay. And we'll just talk about this for a second. Let's get some real talk for just a minute, if I could. I'm a 3 warning girl. So you touch me in a way, you get inappropriate, and I'm like, I don't do that. And, then you do it again, and I go, no. If you don't do that, and if you do that again, there will be consequences, and the consequences might involve me punching you in the face, kicking, whatever you say in the moment, whatever is appropriate for the space you have available. Are you in a small room? Are you in a? Well, where is her Mary? Maybe she needs to get a bigger husband then, or maybe her husband needs to work out, or maybe he needs to not just let his wife go wandering around taking pictures with random butt smackers. These are all questions we have. I'm not trying to judge the woman. Other than say that what she's doing, the way she's doing it is not how I would handle it at all. If that's a judgment, great, then I'm judging her. Great. I'll just admit I'm judging her. I wouldn't handle it this way at all. And that she would handle it this way in a very smeary, public, social justice warrior way. I think it's going to go badly. We're going to keep updating you. Well, no, they're serious with the charges. I mean, not with the charges, with the report and with all. I mean, it's seriously happening, Mary. But I don't know if she's telling the truth about it or not. Her own friends actually are tweeting. Her own associates are tweeting like, "Oh, I hope you're not lying." Attention. She literally called her attention whore. Her own associate. So. I hope she's not lying either, because there's consequences. I mean, why would you march into this thing if there isn't something? But to me, it doesn't matter. It's not that it doesn't matter. I don't think, like, should Corey Lewandowski be smacking people on the butt? No, like, that's probably a bad idea. It's kind of rude, but maybe somebody should, smack him in the nads once. When he doesn't, he'll learn not to do it. I mean, frankly, to be utterly clear, I was actually at a different event at the Trump International Hotel when Corey Lewandowski was there for an event. So, and I don't think it was this event. I think it was actually an early event, but I could check my calendar. It might have been this event, but nonetheless, I did not meet Corey Lewandowski, but I saw him going into the hotel. I did meet Katrina Pearson and Kellyanne Conway then, who were both there at the party, which is how I know if anything of that happened, you could just go to, so he didn't look like he really was involved or interested in any kind of hanging out with women and groping at the party. He looked kind of more he was trying to conduct business and talk with other men about what was going on. I'm sure conducting business. He seemed to be very business focused and not really even enjoying the party. So, I don't know. Maybe it happened. Maybe it didn't happen. He didn't look like he was somebody who would be talking business and then turn around and like, oh, fine, I'll take a selfie with you and waste some time smacking you on the ass with the whole situation. So, it just doesn't look like that. But that's me from what I saw with my eyes. He didn't look like he'd be in that. But you never know. Who knows? We'll see. Gary, have a great day. Have a great day. Have a great day. Yeah, I just don't think he would do it. And frankly, I think he's kind of like, he's kind of a mousy little guy. I mean, no offense. I'm sure he's a very strong, passionate guy as far as the political scene is concerned. But it doesn't seem, in your life, you kind of know how different men might show attraction to women. And certain types of men, usually, they're not he doesn't look like that type. Looks a little too mousy to do that. To be honest, that's just my opinion. That is literally fully my opinion from meeting him. So that's an update on Joy. We'll see how it keeps going forward. Now, I wanted to talk a little bit about achievement. So, and I want to flow that into how we can, what we got to do going forward in 2018. So one of the things, there's a few things that people have already mentioned, their favorite achievements of President Trump in 2017, the near destruction of ISIS. We've done such great work, near discussion. I know, Margaret, exactly. Yeah, exactly, Marguerite. I'm sure there are cameras. I'm sure, but are there cameras in that specific place of specific moment? Maybe, probably. It's not a casino, so who knows? The whole thing is ridiculous. And what's ridiculous is how you would handle it, and I just wouldn't handle it this way. Hey, Josh, how's it going? Josh Glassby from Patriots from America USA. If you are not following Patriots for America USA, you should. And follow on Twitter to PFA USA. Josh does a great hub of all things Patriot happening everywhere, and it's how I actually end up staying pretty informed about what everybody's doing without doing a lot of work. Josh does all that work for me, and so it makes life easier on me. And if you follow Josh, then then I can give back a little bit to Josh by maybe a few more people can follow his stuff. He's a great guy. So And I shared you on Twitter today, Josh, so hopefully your Twitter gets a few more people too that way. So one of my favorite, I mean, we could just start from the beginning, but there's so many things. ISIS. Oh yeah, Mike, he could have accomplished much more if it wasn't for Congress. ISIS defeat, so huge. How much territory we've removed from ISIS. They celebrated Christmas in places that they, just last year, were not able to celebrate Christmas in for fear of losing their heads for doing so. So we have made such a huge impact in the Middle East in actually defeating violent, radical Shariaist Islam, and we're literally forcing many Shariaist or Muslim countries to moderate some of their behaviors in order to continue to trade effectively with us and interact with us. That whole trip that Trump did over to Saudi Arabia, and then from there, for the first time, the first plane ever flew from there into Jerusalem, into Israel. Amazing the progress that Trump is making in the Middle East. And then to go and move the embassy to Jerusalem, or make that commitment that we have promised for many, many years, to stand up to the international anti-Semitic trend and the takeover in the UN, to stand up against that. Amazing. Those are both things that I'm personally, a huge fan of Trump doing. And those are just two small things. I know Hillary must be pissed she was gun running in Libya. Yes, I know Hillary must be pissed, because all that work she put into making sure all those guns went into the hands of all of those radical Islamists, all for naught. All for naught, because Trump hired somebody who actually knows how to win wars and win battles, and put him in charge of winning wars and battles. Like, isn't that fascinating? Maybe that might be my favorite thing. We've gone from fighting wars for no reason and getting soldiers killed senselessly in senseless military actions across the globe that have very little organization or even mission structure, to having a military that has a goal in mind and goes in and completes the goal and handles the problem and then moves on to other goals. I love my president too, Mary. I love him too. For maybe even just that reason. Everyone is like, Trump is Hitler. He's out to take over the world. What, with the military that he's actually using appropriately and then bringing home? Every other president in history has been some sort of occupier. I hate to be I hate to snowflake up for a second, but let me just tell some truth. We go to countries and then we nation build, which is basically a nice word for occupying. We go there and try to control and nation build, control who goes into the government. We try to implement now, I don't want to do that. As a limited government person, as somebody who believes that the government has very limited powers, one of them being to protect me and protect our interests, but I don't want the government going to other countries and setting up governments and being their military too. I don't want to pay for everybody else's military service. I don't want to be involved in these long-term military occupations of countries to try to control dictators and put our dictators. I don't want to play this game that we've played for decades. And I finally have elected a president that doesn't play the game. What we do is we go and we say, okay, we're going to win this battle. We're going to get rid of the enemy. We're going to remove the enemy's ability to rise again. And we're going to make sure the people are safe here and have it under control. We're going to get out of the way. Yes. And the peace people, the people who are like, oh, I just want, we shouldn't be fighting wars everywhere. I'm like, yeah, I agree. That's why I elected Donald Trump. They're like, that doesn't even make any sense. I'm like, yeah, well, it's because you don't understand politics. Albert, I'm sorry. It's probably Zuckerberg. You can come in and come back out. Zuckerberg loves to do that. He loves to make it break up. So Brian says, when we pulled out our troops, we armed extremists with some really good. Yes, this is the dumb things we did under previous administrations. We literally dumped billions of, and Brian, I gotta be honest, I feel that was beyond, it wasn't just how it was described to everybody, where we went out there, we brought this equipment, and then it's, quote, too expensive to bring it back, so we just left it there. That is the most ridiculous, thank you, Wanda, that is the most ridiculous. No, it seemed a lot more like we brought a bunch of equipment out there, made some dumb excuse for leaving it for our friends, and then left them billions of dollars worth of military equipment to fight us with. That's what it looked like to me. I got to be honest. So we're not doing that anymore. We're not doing that. We're doing strategy. Thank you, Joanne, for letting me know that. We're doing strategy. We're doing mission accomplishment. We're actually setting goals and accomplishing them. So the defeat of ISIS, I mean, to what? 90, 98%? Huge, 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 huge. Yes. Yes, indeed. I agree, Mary. I agree. She says we had Osama bin Laden on CIA payroll. We had a lot of people on CIA payroll. Yes. The CIA has been, the CIA it kind of has its own funding if it needs to. It doesn't really need, we're going to have a hard time draining that swamp if we really need to, because of the fact that they have their own funding. We've had this problem before in previous administrations where the CIA just goes underground and does a lot of its actions underground. The deep state is real. The deep state is real. We're going to have a lot of work to do to continue to rectify what the deep state is actually doing. So, some other things that are my absolute favorite. The regulation cutting. The regulation cutting. Oh, that's great. Try piggybacking on somebody's like. Does that mean like if somebody has shared the video, liked the video, try? I'm not sure what that means. Maybe explain that, because that sounds like a good idea. I like strategy. So about that. So one of the things I would this regulations that Trump has cut, as I've talked about before, there are several reasons why the economy is doing better, and then the economy is going to improve in phases, in approximately, I'm going to just go 3 phases, because the first phase being the boon that we're seeing now based on regulation. Well, even now we're seeing the second one begin, but the first boon basically is based on regulation cutting. Trump did great things cutting regulations in multiple ways, not just not the several executive orders that he has issued on regulation cutting, specifically on cutting regulations, but also on different areas of regulation cutting. There's been multiple executive orders cutting a ton of regulations and encouraging the government to cut 2 regulations for every 1 new it makes. We're actually working at a level, as Trump has recently said, 22 to 1. We're cutting 22 regulations for every 1. But executive order is not the only way he has been cutting regulations. He's been cutting regulations by putting in place, in charge of the EPA, the Department of Education, many different departments across the spectrum. Trump has put in place people who are cutting back the regulations in their own bodies. And the left is freaking out about it. But in reality, that's what has been so needed, because that's actually where the bureaucracy of our government got built up. And the huge mass of compliance costs actually is founded in these bureaucracies, in the IRS, in the FDA, in the USD, in all of these different these agencies, this alphabet soup of agencies that small businesses need to negotiate in order to legally operate. Yes, that's really coming. Yes, that seems very straightforward. Obviously, any funding goes forward into the future, but in fact, we have stated we are not funding them to the tune of 285 million, which is still a very small amount compared to what we could, but it's a negotiating chip, Mary. I want everybody to understand that it's a negotiating. When you play poker, you don't put all your money in, but you do put some. You might take it's a little negotiating chip. I'm gonna put this chip on the table. Boom. We're not gonna give you $285 million. Now, what are y'all gonna do? We go from there. Art of the deal. Love my president. Love my president. It should be $285 billion though, Patrick. Seriously, how much money do we give those guys? We shouldn't give them any. I think we should rent out literally this is what we should do. Do they have UN events all the time? We should say, okay, you know what? We need to close the UN for a couple days to clean up. So everybody go home, visit your families. And then when they come back, we've just rented it out to somebody else. That's what I think we should do. Sorry. Sometimes I crack myself up. Janet said, the darn liberals are raising property taxes. Yes, Janet, the liberals are killing you by raising property taxes, and counterating the tax. Yes, of course they are. And they're doing that. Janet says they're literally their state policies are going to counteract the Trump tax break so that it seems like nothing happened. It's a strategy that they're going to do. And they're doing it in California too. They're doing it, I'm sure in several other states, probably New York. I wouldn't be surprised if they're not doing it here in Virginia or Maryland or where. I mean, both of these states seem to have a little, some edge of conservatives in here, a little bit, but then, a lot of Democrats. We'll see. I think that we're going to sadly see a lot of states try that tactic, which is raise taxes in such a way that, minimizes the benefits of Trump's tax break so that people don't really see it. They got to do something. I mean, I hope I haven't just given them a good idea about mentioning it. Yeah, the UN, very scary that, they were, and frankly, the UN has been turned into a pro-Islamic, anti-Semitic body for a long time. So it's very key that we continue to, it's great that we're finally standing up to that, and going from there. Now, I'm really happy about these tax cuts specifically because it was a major legislative benefit. But as I was saying, the regulation cutting is what caused this first boom. All of this stock market, these new jobs that are coming in, the new manufacturing jobs that are coming in. All the energy boom came from Trump deregulating a lot of drilling, rolling back a lot of what Obama had put in place in regards to oil and the energy industry, coal. So a lot of that, welcome back, Mark, a lot of that first bump was based on deregulating energy, deregulating industry, and helping businesses no longer have those oppressive costs to doing business. That's what we had the first boom. That's literally how much regulation we had in place. This much growth happens when you let it off. When you take that pressure off, this is how much growth. Stock market records again and again, thousands and thousands of jobs, manufacturing jobs coming back where everybody said, yeah, we talked about Tree Talk this first thing, Mark, so you'll loop back around. Great. Thank you so much. Thank you. And Mark, thanks for reminding me. If you're on and you've tuned in, click share so that other people can share. Christopher, thank you so much. I try to do a little bit of good information. So, we do try to share a little bit. So that first bump has just been from regulation release and the idea that we're moving forward towards tax cuts. So now I'm very excited. 2017, great thing that happened. Managed to get tax cuts passed in the first year with a very resistant Congress, to be fair. With a very resistant Congress. Still able to get the tax cut through, or at least a reasonable tax cut through. This is going to be the next bump because now all of the businesses who were making more money, offering more jobs, hiring more people, growing with hope both on the end that, yes, they were saving money on regulations. It was going easier to do business, but also with the hope that they would get a tax break coming down the pike. Now it's here. So that next bump is getting ready to happen. The third bump will happen when we actually deal with the Obamacare issue, when we see those kinds of economic adjustments being made, and additionally after we actually start seeing the benefits of the tax break. So we get a bump because the tax break passed itself, and we're going to see down the road in the next 6 to 12 to 18 months a whole other bump based on the actual impact of the tax break, of repatriating money, of more drilling in the oil industry and the energy industry. All of that, boom, 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 boom. It's going to be absolutely great. Few other things that I'm so excited about what my president is doing. his support for law enforcement, his support for veterans, the actions that he's taken even now so far to rectify the agencies that have been going bad, particularly in the VA. So he's doing a lot of work there and has done a lot of work. He's working constantly. I mean, constantly on something, and it still has time to do a couple rallies, which is great. And I think that, I actually really appreciate how he's engaged and not engaged in the general various elections across the country. I don't need him in every election, hawking for everybody. That's our Patriots' job. Some of the work that Trump has to get done is work we actually got to be doing. We're a movement. When Trump says we got elected, when Trump says we are here making America great again, when Trump says we won, that's true. That's a true statement. We did win, and we have some work to do. Trump has his own work to do, so we have to. I feel like we need to balance. So I'm gonna give everybody a chance. What are your favorite things? Wanda, I hope you feel better. Have a great day. Go make your head great again. Cool pack. Cool it down. That helps a lot. That doesn't take any medicine and it makes you feel better. That's just my old wives' advice. So take it or leave it. I don't care. Hope you feel better though. I really do. So, if there's what are the things that I am not thinking of? That you guys remember that you love that Trump did this year. I'll give everybody a second to kind of chew on that. And, I want to just remind everybody the tax cut benefits. There's so many tax cut benefits in the package we don't even know. Are there. Barely even are aware. Opening up ANWR drilling. There's a lot of things that we're going to see as it moves forward. So we're going to have to wait and see all of the benefits. But already some things are starting to pop up. Not just in all the bonuses that have been offered by companies who have already seen them. And, yes, some of these companies are offering these benefits because it saves them some tax money. Which, by the way, let me mention this, and I'm going to talk about it again more tomorrow, but I'm going to throw this story in. You guys are going to be in the know tomorrow. There's I believe, a scandal of brewing, because here in Virginia, Maryland, DC area, and probably across the country where you are from, states have encouraged individuals to pay their property tax early so that they can deduct them on next year's taxes, because in the following year, Trump caps property tax deductions at $10,000 per year. Okay? Yeah, Mary, that's good advice too. Neil Gorsuch, great. Yeah, we're going to make a lot of progress on that because he's kind of eating them out from within, Mark. He's kind of eating these agencies out from within. And frankly, I would hope we just close we don't need the federal government telling us how to educate people. It's literally a money laundering system. It's a money laundering scheme. You send money up to the federal government for education. They take the money, they send it back to you, and then tell you what to do with it. But they leave a little bit so that they can, keep their offices open and conduct their business. It's a racket. I'm sorry. Department of Education, the federal Department of Education, it's a racket. They have no business being in the education, but families, communities, states, even, these are the people who I think make much more sense on figuring out how to educate young people. I love when he pulled Chuck and Nancy to talk. Yep. And I love when he put the chairs and they didn't show up and he just put the empty chairs. Wouldn't that be great? I know, Mike, we got to get term limits. Term limits would be absolutely great. And frankly, Mary, Neil Gorsuch is great because you're reminding me there's been some absolutely great decisions coming down the pipe from the Supreme Court. We're doing some winning there, including defeating a lot of this lefty Ninth Circuit Court agenda crap that comes through. So we're going to keep doing more of that. Now, but let me finish talking about what this tax thing that's happening. Okay. So states have encouraged individuals to pay their property taxes early so that they can deduct them from their taxes. Now, there is no evidence that the IRS will let you deduct property taxes that you pay in advance. Okay. If that was a thing, wouldn't everybody just pay like 10 years of property taxes right now and then deduct it all off? If that was a thing, people would be doing it. You can't deduct taxes paid that haven't been assessed. And so the IRS has clarified yesterday, after about 3 days of long lines in state offices, county offices, of people paying their property taxes early, thinking they can get this, they can write it off on the taxes if they get to it before the cap is set in Trump's tax plan going into effect. None of that has actually been true. Okay, the IRS literally said we're not going to give you credits for that, for taxes that haven't been assessed. So that's not even going to happen. And so all of these states, and it might be your states too, and I want to find out how many states got in on this because it was all around here. And there's a couple of states doing it. All of these states promoted this idea that people pay their property taxes early, got all of these people to come in and pay thousands of dollars. Now, keep in mind, everybody who showed up to pay property tax in advance to save money is doing it because the cap is set at $10,000. That means each of these people is paying more than $10,000 in property taxes, because you wouldn't waste time going down, oh, well, I only pay like $5,000 in property taxes. I'm not going to go down and pay them early because it's not going to affect me in any way. So these people came and gave more than $10,000 in taxes in advance to all these states. And I'm sure these states had a role in encouraging individuals to do it because it was prolific. Lines out the door. They couldn't stop talking about it on the news. All a scheme, you guys. It seems to be at this point that it was all a scheme so that states and counties could collect taxes, an early bump of money from inducing panic. So you gotta be careful. We have some very weird blue state operatives that are going to do some weird things going forward to cause people to have panic. Now, all these people are in a panic. They think the taxes are going to be horrible for them. Somebody's told them horrible things are going to happen, when in reality, they've told them a lie to get money into the state or county coffers. Yeah, Penny says it seems stupid we aren't even able to pay ourselves. Nobody should be paying taxes that haven't been assessed. So I think we're going to hear more about that little scheme, but it's been happening here, and hopefully, if it's been happening where you are, let me know. Send me a little message. Let me know what's happening in your state. I'd like to see how widespread these antics are. Mary, other judicial appointments? Yes. And there's been so many appointments of solid constitutional conservatives across the country. We're doing some great work. We're going to actually wear down many of these more liberal courts, and we're going to keep doing it. And Trump's doing some great work there, filling a lot of empty seats. Here's the other thing, the Obama administration only had so much, there were many seats not in place. There were seats not in place. There were places that you can just fill up. In addition to seats that can be replaced, Trump has made a great deal of appointments, and it's actually really exciting how long-term, lifetime appointments, how long-term some of these appointments are going to actually affect us, because we're changing the landscape itself of the court. So, yeah, we got to do something about the Ninth Court. It's absolutely ridiculous. Yes, saying Merry Christmas again has been amazing. I'm going to check up on that, Penny. Saying Merry Christmas has been amazing. There's been so much Christmas spirit. It's absolutely huge. How many more people have been saying Merry Christmas? That's been a great thing that Trump, I think, specifically inspired. Chris, New York is in on it too. I wouldn't be surprised. I think all the blue states. That's why I want to see where they're doing it, because I think all the blue states. Penny, are there any cabinet positions? I'm going to check on that. I think the major cabinet positions are filled. There's some smaller things that Trump doesn't necessarily, I don't know for certain. I'm going to double check. We could probably go on whitehouse.gov. That's where I'm going to go to check when I go. So you could whitehouse.gov, and in the menu, there's, I'm sure, appointment. I believe there's a tab that literally talks about appointments. So that's definitely key. I'm excited. Somebody says building the wall. I'm excited that we've started to make prototypes and we're actually moving forward on the necessary structuring to build the wall. Trump has not let, this is why you hire a businessman, you guys. This is why. This is why. He hasn't let the Congress dragging their feet on funding or the funding issues to affect his ability to move forward on the necessary parts of the wall building project. So one of the necessary parts is deciding what kind of wall to build. And so we've already moved forward in building prototypes. Different prototypes are being tested now. And that's exactly why you hire this kind of guy for such a project. When Trump said he was going to build a wall, I'm like, well, you can't have anybody better. You can't even. It is a little harder to find things now, Mary. It is a little harder. They have revamped it, but dig into the menus, and sometimes you have to dig into the. It is a little. I agree. They had more information, I think, to put on there, and it got a little more complex. So it was very simple early on, and I kind of enjoyed that about it. So definitely. All the appointments, it's a huge boon to to getting the agenda going forward. People worry a lot about the deep state. Are we getting rid of the swamp? Are we draining the swamp? This is how we're actually doing it. Bit by bit, appointment by appointment. The left wants you to think it's not happening, but in fact, it is happening in huge ways, and I'm very impressed with my president. So, I want to talk, now that we've talked a lot about different things that are really great, and before I let you guys all go, I want to talk a little bit about strategies going forward in the new year, because I know we've talked a lot about we have to get involved with all these primaries. We have to find our MAGA candidates and support them. We have to stop funding the RNC and demonstrate pressure on the existing Republicans to ensure that they do the will of the people as much as possible. And that pressure consists of funding removal. It consists of running candidates in primaries. It consists of phone calls, interaction, letter writing campaigns, rallies, all of these things it consists of to actually engage these Republicans that are both in the movement now and the ones that we want to put in, and make sure that we're getting our agenda, our America First agenda put forward. We were very clear. Trump was very clear on the things that we want to do in this country. We want to secure the border. We want to fix the healthcare debacle that Obama made. We want to lower taxes. We want to change our foreign policy in the world so that we're not in chronic wars, but we're also not getting taken advantage of. We want to fix our trade deals. Hey, Fred, I keep forgetting to message you as well, so it's my bad on me. I promise I will learn to be a better sharer and informer in the future. We're always trying to improve. Everybody's trying to improve every day. So that's what we're talking about, what Trumpers should do going forward in 2018, because we all need to continue to improve to make sure that we get we've got a lot of things in our agenda already accomplished, but we have some more things, and some things are just barely started. We just have started the process of moving our embassy to Jerusalem. And so we've just started the impact of that and leading that impact, taking that experience and how that's going to affect the world. Everyone's so worried about how it's going to affect the world, and actually leading that effect, having a positive interaction with that effect, so that bringing the embassy to Jerusalem doesn't just naturally, I don't know, a few minutes more, I'm talking about strategy. I'm talking about strategy, Fred. So, it is a good point on that measure, because what I am talking about is what we need to do moving forward. Because one of the things we definitely need to do is work on these MAGA candidates. So important that we work on our MAGA candidates and pressure our Republican candidates immensely. By doing that, we need to we also do, just by the nature of continuing to demand our agenda be imposed and working towards getting that, we put pressure on the Democrats to bend back from the brink, I don't know why I say brink, from over the cliff of communism. They're not even on the brink anymore. They've gone over the cliff. They've lost their minds. They're utter statists. They're mad. They're crazy. We want to encourage them to come back. Come back over the wall. Come back over the cliff. Come back to normal, talking about jobs, talking about blue-collar, middle-class family issues. Come back to liking the flag again. Come back to standing up for the anthem again. Come back to understanding history and why we have statues and why we remember our past. Come back. Come back from cultural Marxism, where you think it's okay to attack people physically who disagree with you politically. Come back. So we need to keep putting pressure on the Democrats, and that is by continuing to force the Republicans to enact the will of the people. Enact the will of the people. When we show folks that the will of the people is how this government is run. When we show people that the will of the people can in fact be implemented, can be voted on, we can win, and we can implement our will. That's what we need to do to show the elitist left and the elitist right, to be fair, that I got a hair on my nose and it's itching me. That our country is still intact. The country that the founders gave us is still intact. We are still in charge, and you elites aren't in charge. That's the gift that being able to elect Donald Trump, that's the gift that we were able to get this year in 2017, which is we have a president who understands that the people, this is a government by, of, and for the people. The people elected this president. The people have campaigned for this president. This is in my lifetime, and many of you probably will agree, in my lifetime, this is the most grassroots connected president. Real individuals, human beings getting together, really pushing to promote, to elect, and to support President Trump. It's been actually amazing to see in my lifetime this kind of groundswell from the individual level of people who just out of their heart want to support a presidential candidate or want to support a leader. We've for so long been manipulated by party. For so long, you vote Democrat or you vote Republican, or you vote Libertarian, or you don't vote and you're frustrated. There's like 4 categories you could be, and that's how we were always manipulated back and forth. This is the first time I think that, there are people who say, I vote the man. This is the first time I've seen in my lifetime that people have gotten behind a man because he was the right person for the job to be a government by, of, and for the people. He was a citizen president, and it's so amazing. Chris says, if we set up good grassroots for local candidates, we'll be all... Yes, Chris, totally agreed. Setting up good grassroots for our local candidates, so important. So that's why, in talking about things we have to do, we have to get involved with local elections. 2018 strategy, get involved with local elections in any way possible. Help register voters. Help a local candidate raise funds, or knock on doors, or make phone calls. Awesome. Thank you, Mark. Thank you so much. Help, and thank you, Fred, for sharing too. Help these candidates get their message out. Help, even just down to get involved with your local party and find other Trump supporters involved in your local Republican activities. So we need to clean, but the swamp Republicans. Exactly. One way we do that is get involved in Republican activities locally. That's what I'm doing here. That's what I know a lot of people in the Trump movement that I know here and across even the country are doing, getting involved in Republican activities so that we can infuse. We took the presidency. So the Republican Party is the Trump Republican Party right now. We have every right to move in on this Republican, these established Republicans, and demand that they support their elected Republican president. And we can demand that gracefully just by being there and saying, yeah, we support the agenda. America first. You guys are with us, right? America first, right? Yes, we're all America first. No, I know, Mary, there's a lot of places where that's the case. And then you got to find the secret operatives that are working to you got to find the rebels. When the Sith reveal themselves, you got to find the Jedi. So seek out your Jedi, your local Jedi, and join up with them. I know you're very active. So I'm speaking rhetorically because I know how busy and involved you try to be. So I know everybody, is doing their part. But just metaphorically, find your Jedi. Find your Jedi. So being involved in local elections is so important. You guys, we have to continue to fight the culture war. And by fight, the culture war, I actually don't really mean fighting that much. We should be fighting as little as possible if we can. By fight, I mean show up. That's specific. I know, right? That's, yeah, no, Fred, we have to actually take back both parties. And I was saying, that's why we got to get the Democrats to at least come back over the cliff. Come back over here. Let's talk about some regular issues. And, it's interesting because there was I'm obviously a Trumper. I'm obviously collecting candidates that are running pro-Trump across the country. And so, but a Democrat contacted me and said, I'm running in the Democratic Party and on, kind of these principles. They're not really anti-Trump principles, but these are, they're kind of patriotic principles. I was very I didn't know what to make of that. I'm still in a conundrum to kind of figure out what to make of how to even respond to, great. Go for it. I'm not going to root for you because you're the Democrat, and I'm probably going to root for my Republican MAGA candidate in whatever race you're in. But I'm all for you moving in on the Democratic Party and trying to run sensible, valued people in the Democratic Party. So I think I'm for it. It's just it's an odd situation. But yes, we do need to take back both parties, and it's going to be an interesting march forward as we do that. But I think one of the ways we do that is by forcing the Republicans to make sense. The Democrats sound more crazy, and they're going to be forced to make a little sense as well, just so they can participate in the conversation at all. I know, and is Sheriff Clark really a Democrat? I like Harlan Hill. He claims to be a Democrat. There's some people who claim to be Democrats, and I'm like, I don't know if you're really a Democrat. Yes, thank you, Mark, for sharing that. It was actually one of my favorite moments of 2017, of the past year is, standing up to that. But I don't know where we're going to go with, these. We have to start getting the federal government to look into these situations where the left is being violent and political terrorism is continuing. So moving forward, I think maybe that might be a thing we can continue to do in fighting the culture war is continue to put pressure on our government to follow up on these things, to follow up on political violence, to continue to follow up on the actions. We don't need to fight back. We don't need to fight back. We can fight back through the rule of law. Isn't that a better idea? I really just feel like that's a better idea. I try not to go down to rallies and get involved with Antifa fights. I'm not there to fight you. I might be there to trigger you. It's fun. Triggering is fun. What am I going to say? We all enjoy a little triggering. It is what it is. So that's important to continue but other ways we're winning the culture war. The NFL boycott has been really great this year. But other ways we're winning the culture war is just being ourselves, being Trump supporters openly. And I know I'm so glad we had Wanda come in yesterday. She was really nervous about, I feel uncomfortable showing any support for my president publicly in my area. She found some friends, feels a little more comfortable. It's what I've always called normalizing Trump support. And I'm not saying we're not normal for being Trump supporters. I'm saying they're not normal for being bothered by our Make America Great Again shirts and our Trump bumper stickers. There's something wrong with them for being triggered, but we can inoculate them by just being there. Kind of like one of the treatments they have for peanut allergy is small doses of peanuts. So in my case, we can just do regular, whatever size doses they happen to come across, but we should not be hiding. So fighting the culture war includes fighting political terrorism. And we fight political terrorism the same way we fight religious terrorism, the same way we fought 9/11. We all stood back up and said, no, we're going to go back out shopping. We're going to get back on planes. We're going to keep living our lives publicly, proud Americans. We're not going to stop doing that. That's how the terrorists win. You guys, I know it's uncomfortable. I know you get nervous. You don't want to get you don't want to get in a situation where somebody punches you in the face for wearing a Trump shirt. I don't want that either. But we can't live in fear. We cannot let the terrorists win. So if you want to wear a Trump shirt, if you feel like I want to wear my Trump shirt and it's within your dress code, don't go to work in a Trump shirt and get fired and then tell everybody Suzzanne Monk told you to do it. I'm not going to take the blame because you didn't know what to do. I am saying if you do it in a way that is functional for your life, but if you want to wear your Trump shirt, wear it. And don't even think a second thought about it. Don't worry about it. Are they noticing my shirt? wear it. If you wear your gear enough, you'll start to feel that sensation of you don't even remember you have it on. So when people walk by and they give you the trigger look, you're like, why are people looking? Oh, I'm wearing this Trump shirt. I totally forgot I was wearing this Trump shirt. Oh, snowflakes. You almost miss the fun of wearing the shirt because you're so used to wearing it. You're so used to just, in reality, I wear gear in many major urban areas. Blue places. Chicago. DC. Everywhere in between. Indianapolis. I wear whatever. Most people don't even notice what you're wearing. Gotta be honest. Most people don't even notice what you're wearing. Somebody might notice it. Is somebody gonna maybe be like, maybe? Maybe. It's a very small chance that somebody's gonna have a big issue with you. And if they do, write about it on Facebook. Get some likes. Get some attention for yourself. Get some pats on the back for being a proud patriot and standing up to people. Like, come up with a funny quip. It's very unlikely it's going to happen. I'm just going to say. Most people don't even notice or don't even care. It's time to quit hiding, Ann. That's what I'm saying. We need to get involved. Local elections. We need to keep fighting the culture war. We do that by not hiding, by continuing to stand up against things that are around. Now, a third thing, we've all been about the boycott, okay? I think we need to consider... Yeah, libs don't know what it is. They have no idea. I have a couple inauguration shirts that really, unless you look at it, you're not even noticing it's a Trump shirt. I actually prefer the ones that are more annoying. Like, I love this pink one because it's pink. It's their color. And it's, this big Make America Great Again. If that wasn't enough, it's got Trump it's right here. It's well designed. It's like a good billboard for me. I like this one, but there's others that even trigger worse. My I Heart Donald Trump. Oh my God. People, they melt down on that one. And even then they don't see it that often. We go to restaurants in Chicago all the time in the shirt. People might notice, but then they just kind of notice and get frustrated and then quietly eat their dinner by themselves. And actually talk less politics. It actually is good. It keeps them from loudly talking annoying lefty politics because they're like, oh, there's a Trump supporter. It's a benefit, you guys. It's a benefit, I'm telling you. So, I think we need to use our boycott power for good. So we're using I'm not saying what we're doing is not good, but we're using our boycott power to boycott companies that are doing things we disagree with. We need to do something even better than a boycott. We need to obviously support as many Trump companies or companies that are standing up for Trump as possible. But I'm going to give you guys a real good idea. Okay. We need to get these companies to support the president. So why don't we all get involved in a letter writing campaign? Let's pick companies that we know are run by conservative individuals and encourage these individuals to donate to pro-Trump super PACs, to participate in some way in the Make America Great Again movement. We can encourage companies to do that and to support the president and to stand with the president. And going forward, I'm going to come up with different companies in different places that we encourage each other to write to and hopefully get involved. And if even if there's a company that's your favorite, they're run by a conservative, feel free to write to them and say, hey, I know you make a lot of money off of Patriot people. Would it be, I want to encourage you to donate some of that money to this pro-Trump group or this pro-Trump local candidate. Even local companies get involved. See, even local companies can get involved with supporting some of these candidates. And yes, it's going to be risky, and some of them are going to say no. Lots of them will say no, or they'll say thank you, or they won't say anything, and it'll just. But I think we need to start using. We have a power. We have a power of group voice. And I think we have a power of gumption to just ask, some of the time just telling hey, we at least stood up and said, NFL, we're not going to come to your things. We're not going to watch your shows because we don't like what you're doing. We asked for what we wanted in a way. We stood up for what we wanted. We can use that in ways. Yeah. See, Penny, I think we need a whole network of businesses that support Trump and sharing each other's information, supporting each other's businesses, growing that. And I think we need to find businesses of large scale. We need to find our own billionaires. The left has a whole bunch of billionaires and Hollywood moguls that spend a lot of money on the left, on Democratic campaigns, and the establishment the same way. We got to find those people. I think we as individuals can actually find those people and encourage them to help fund the MAGA movement that we need to pay for all of these candidates that are running this huge campaign. We, the people, are going to have to run all of these statewide campaigns as if we're a party. We're not a party, but we are a party, you guys. It's one of the frustrating things you and I both know. The Trump movement has to be its own everything. We have to be our own party. So one of the things we need to do as a party, if we were a party, we need to find some donors. We need to encourage our billionaires to give money to electing our candidates. That's what the party does. That's what the RNC does. That's what the DNC does. Well, we need to be the TNC, okay? The Trump National Committee. And we need to make sure that we get our people doing that same work. So, what does it hurt to write a few letters and suggest to people that we support our candidates, support local candidates, support Trump super PACs, support America First super PACs. Let's gather some information over the next, couple weeks and find some good places that we can encourage people to contribute to the Trump movement. I'll do some research. Please share your research with me. I don't like doing all the research myself, but I'm happy to do as much research as necessary to help keep us on some good ideas like this. So, that's just my suggestion. So, Trumper resolutions, I'm going to keep making this list, but for the 3 for today, we're going to let this go because it's been a nice long show. We've been talking to everybody for a while, and I'm sure people got other things to do in their day, but we certainly want to just recap some things to do moving forward. Get involved with your local candidate, okay? Continue to fight the culture war, and one of those ways, just be out. Be out as a Trump supporter. Be out. And let's seriously start acting like a party, acting like the Trump National Committee, and doing the jobs we know a party finds necessary to get our candidates elected. We do those 3 things. 2018 is golden. So, what's this? Let's play a little out music.
Dead. But if I get elected president, I will bring it back.
This is from Laser Snake.
And better and stronger.
And they use a little Trump speech, which I love. I can listen to my president speak again and over. And you know why? It's not because he's the most eloquent man in the world, although I love the way he speaks.
You're the snake.
It literally.
Time for a change in the White House, y'all.
It literally. It's his passion. Oh, it's good metal, you guys. I gotta go jam out to this. It's been a great show. Thanks everybody for tuning in. If you get a chance to share the show, I appreciate it. And thanks for all the shares and contributions, comments, conversation. I love doing this, you guys. We're gonna keep doing it. We got a lot of work to do in 2018, and your girl Suzzanne Monk's gonna be there right beside you doing all the work. So we're gonna do it together, you guys. We are gonna make America great again. I'm gonna headbang a little bit. I'm gonna make headbanging great again. Love you guys. This is your girl. Monk out.